Enterprise Management 360.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Tech Chat. Now in today's episode, I'm going to be speaking with Frank Stuker, who's the CEO at Emnify. So Frank, welcome to the show and thanks for coming on today.
Thank you, Max. Thank you for having me here.
Very welcome. I'm looking forward to our discussion because Frank's here to share his knowledge and expertise in cellular IoT security, including the need to knows and best practices for protection as per Emnify's recent guide. Now, Frank, to kick off the show, obviously people are going to know what IoT is, but cellular IoT may be a little bit side out of that realm, especially when we talk about its two key forms. And how does this kind of fall into the IoT landscape, if you could give us an overview?
Yeah, so cellular IoT is one of the most popular ways IoT devices are being connected using traditional cellular networks. The key reason for that is that these cellular radio networks are deployed all over the world. So you have from the start for your application global coverage. So you completely simplify your deployment. And especially it works out of the box, no matter in which country you are operating or deploying your devices. So you have a lot of hardware infrastructure when you build your devices. So it's the most popular solution to use cellular when you run a scalable global IoT solution.
Excellent stuff. Perfectly explained. So why does cellular IoT need to be secured? What kind of threats, cyber risks, and security challenges are the modern enterprise currently having to deal with?
Through the growth of all kind of connected devices or applications which being developed as part of the next generation industry or applications, a lot of industries will be connected with their machines, devices, or buildings the very first time. And you have in this connection like any threat you have in any other connected environment. So IoT will not exclude or will be not excluded from general threats. So classic threats are the basic lack of encryption, or when you deploy inconsistency in your security standards, or also very classic because you have no touch anymore on your devices which are deployed globally, that you just are not up to date with your firmware updates for your devices. With the rise of all these new connected devices, security risks arise in parallel with the deployment of these devices. And in most cases, the security risks are not new risks. They are well known throughout other traditional deployments. And these risks include weak authentication, lack of encryption, as well as any kind of inconsistency of your security standards. And one of the most threats we see is devices which are not regularly being updated in terms of their firmware.
Yes, always a very key issue there that comes up quite a bit. It's very interesting to see this kind of development as well. And obviously, I mentioned at the top of the show, we're going to speak about Emnify's guide for cellular device IoT security. Yeah. And there's a lot of good stuff that you just outlined there. But the report itself includes 25 plus best practices protecting and guarding organizations against potential IoT hacks. So which ones should enterprises be most aware of and without a doubt, implement today?
Yeah, so at Emnify, we are specialized in helping our customers to connect their devices in a most secure way. And we also guide them through when they develop their devices on what they need to consider to have them as secure as possible. So the key threats you have is, first of all, physical security. This is something as the devices are deployed in the field or in moving devices or moving vehicles, as an example, in containers, you need to ensure that secured and cannot be accessed by any intruder. And not only that you need to secure them physically, you also need to detect that when these devices are physically being attacked. So when they are being broken up, for that, we provide, for example, abnormality technology which will understand when the device is being used in a complete abnormal way and give our customers the possibility to then shut down the device. So the device cannot enter anymore. There's a back-end applications, as well as they can send out someone who is looking what's going on the physical side. Besides that, the whole topic about remote access of the device. So when people trying in an electronic way to access the devices and try to manipulate settings, the firmware, or any kind of software settings on the device. The next thing is the whole topic around private networks. So to ensure, so you cannot have these devices just sitting on the public internet. You want to have the devices secured within your own private network, which is not reachable physically from any outside attacker. So for this, we provide private network capabilities so that all devices only show up within a private subnet of the customer. Next thing is you want to lock the physical SIM card which each of the device has. You want to lock this SIM card that it's being or can only be used with this specific device. So example is devices get broken up, SIM cards will be stolen and being used for any other use cases. So here we provide the first the detection that the SIM card is being used in a different device. And secondly, we ensure that the SIM card can access only the services for which it's being deployed. So it cannot be used for any other general purpose mobile use, like making phone calls to expensive overseas numbers, as an example. So these are the key attacks and security factors we often see, and the majority of the customers also deploy.
Excellent stuff, Frank. It's a really fascinating read, the guide that you guys have put together. I think there's a lot of useful information in there that can really help a lot of people. So all I can say is thank you for coming on today's Tech Chat and walking us through these steps of what people need. It's been great having you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And have a nice day, Max.
Thank you, Frank. Same to you. And thank you, everyone who took the time to watch this episode. We hope you did take a lot away. If you want to find out more information, especially what's in that guide and report, then please head on over to mnify.com. There's some fantastic resources on there that will be able to help you out. That's a wrap for this week's Tech Chat. Thank you so much for watching. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel. The links down below for what we've discussed will be in the description. Subscribe on our LinkedIn and Twitter at EM360Tech. And of course, for more great daily content, head on over to em360tech.com.